Welcome to today's Monday Mindset Call entitled Armour Up Part 3, which is all about stepping up. I want you to type in the chat, stepping up. If you're taking notes, write that on the top of your piece of paper, stepping up. How many of you in this season know that you need to step up? How many in this season know that you need to step up? I need to step up. I know I need to step it up. I know that I need to turn the heat up just that little bit more. I need to step it up. 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 I don't know if you've ever looked yourself in the mirror and said, come on, girl, you're better than this. Come on, girl, step it up. Come on, you can do this. And if you're a man on this call, hopefully you wasn't saying, come on, girl, you're saying, come on, man. You're looking yourself in the mirror and you're saying, I've got to step it up. What area in your life do you need to step up? Are you stepping up your consistency? Are you stepping up your work ethic? Are you stepping up your boldness? Are you stepping up in stepping up? Are you stepping up in talking up? What are you going to step up on this week as we walk into a new week that God has blessed us with? And so, stepping it up can be scary. Stepping it up can feel awkward. Stepping it up can feel weird. Stepping it up can be nervous. Stepping it up can do all sorts of different things when it comes to our emotions. But here's the thing. I believe that it's worth the risk. How many of you believe it's worth the risk? Is it worth the risk? Is it worth the risk to step it up? Is it worth the embarrassment? Is it worth the shame? Is it worth who doesn't believe in you? Is it worth it to step up? You got to find something that's worth the risk. Now, some of you on this call may say, but Nikki, I am not a risk taker. I'm not a risk taker. And I remember, this is going back probably around 12, 13 years ago, I got tasked to run a training session. And this training session I got tasked to run was for the bank. And they told me last minute that I had to go and provide a training to a set of managers, leaders, directors around risk. And I'll just give you a little bit of a backstory around that because these individuals were at risk of losing their jobs. And their roles, and I don't know if you know much about project management or when you're given a certain task for a certain amount of time, they were in a project management role. Now, you all know that when you're managing a project, the whole point of managing that project is for what? To manage it for completion, for it to get to a certain position where that project is complete. Someone say complete. And so my role was to teach the leaders who were teaching the people to complete an assignment. Now, I want to put it into perspective for you so that you understand it in a way that is very simplistic, because you know I'm a very simple person. So if you were a driving instructor, your role as a driving instructor is to do what exactly? As a driving instructor, you have a role to teach someone to drive. Now, they're going to pay you for a certain amount of sessions. Now, once they pay you for those sessions as a driving instructor, they are ultimately paying to be able to what? To drive independently away from you. Now, if you had a very good driving instructor, that driving instructor would teach you as fast as they can, as efficient as they can, to ensure that you complete your task as quickly as possible. If you had a different type of instructor, that instructor, like one of my instructors, would teach you as slowly as he could so that I could keep paying for even more lessons, which meant that he kept a student for a lot longer. Put a yes in the chat if this is making sense for you. So the role that I had to do when I went to these leaders inside the bank was to teach them how to motivate their teams to complete a task faster. Now, by them completing the task faster, it meant they were then out of a job. And I had two types of leaders. The type of leaders that was like that not so good driving instructor that did not want to teach their people how to get the job done effectively, because by the time they have completed a job, they too would be out of a job. And then you had the type of leader that used strategy and knew that if you do the right thing will ultimately reward you. And so here's one of the leaders that I had to help. Well, they're not motivated. How can I motivate someone to work faster that ultimately makes them lose their job? I just don't see how it is possible. It isn't possible. You're coming here to teach me something that isn't possible, Nikki. It's impossible to motivate people that are about to lose their jobs. How do you go into an office and tell people that the deadline has gone forward? Because ultimately it means they're not stupid. They know that they've lost their jobs. And then I had another leader. And the other leader said, I've got a few ideas on what I can do to at least send them off on a high. But I'd like to run it through with you so you can just tell me if I'm going down the right angle. Two leaders, two different perspectives. I want to talk to us today around perspective. How do you look at things? What is your viewpoint when it comes to looking at your situation? You see, the world would say things like, is the glass half empty or is the glass half full? I will say to you that every situation is an opportunity to grow, is an opportunity to learn. Now, the leader who I believe was an absolutely phenomenal leader, let me tell you what happened. That leader motivated the team. The leader says, hey, look, here's what I'm going to do. For those of you that complete the task within the deadline that has now been set, I personally will work with you to see if I can help you to get another role within the bank. Not only that, I will write personal recommendations for you. Not only that, I will also run some training sessions when it comes to interviewing techniques so you can leave as the best person possible. I know too, I am at risk as well. But if we're going to go out, we're going to go out with a bang. And I kid you not, I don't need you to even take a wild guess which one of the leaders had their teams re-employed the most. Not every person was re-employed, but I tell you this, the ones that were re-employed and designated to other projects were from the leader that was the one that was positive, that encouraged them to complete the task, that didn't sit with them and moan and look at the glass half empty and say, these are all the things that are going to happen to us and these are the problems that we have. The way that you view a situation can ultimately change the outcome of a situation. You see, we all know Nehemiah is my favorite book in the Bible. And I'm unapologetic about that because I just love his leadership. There's so many things that we can learn from Nehemiah when it comes to his leadership. There's a few steps that we can learn when it comes to his leadership, and it was his perspective on life, the way he looked at situations, the way that he looked at obstacles or potential obstacles as opportunities to grow. I know for a fact that every single person on this call has a goal, has something they want to do, has something they want to get away from, or something that they want to grow to. Every person has that. But you see, what every person doesn't have is the desire. You see, desire is the start of all success. Desire is the root of all success. The word says, as a man thinketh in his heart. It doesn't say as a man thinketh, it says as a man thinketh in his heart. Where does your desire start? The desire starts from your heart. What is it that you're passionate about? Now, you can be passionate about things that you want to do, but you can also be very passionate about things you don't want to do. And I urge you today to question and ask yourself, what is the number one desire of my heart over the next 90 days? What do I really want to achieve over the next 90 days? What's my perspective on this goal? You see, Nehemiah opened his mouth and he says, I'm going to rebuild the walls. That was the only thing he saw. When the enemy came to distract him, when people that were his friends that were supposed to be building the wall with him, they were so busy looking at the enemy who wanted to tear the walls down, they'd stop building. And they said, Nehemiah, come on, look, these people are coming to attack us. They want to pull the wall down. And Nehemiah says, I can't talk to you right now. I'm building. I can't speak to you right now. I'm building. I'm so focused on building that there's just some things I just can't look at right now. Is your perspective on building? Or is your perspective on your objections, on the things that could potentially hold you back? Where do you spend most of your time? Where does your heart spend most of its time? Is it in the limitations, or is it in the perspective of what possibly could go right? Nehemiah 6:3 says, I sent messengers unto them saying, I am doing a good work, so that I cannot come down. Why should the work cease whilst I leave it and come down to you? In other words, you see, when I first heard this, all I heard was Nehemiah sending them away and saying, I can't deal with you right now, I'm building. But then I looked at the first line and it says, and I sent messengers to them saying. That means he didn't even respond to the enemies. He sent messengers to respond to them because he just didn't have time to focus on something that wasn't serving him. My question to you today is, how much time do you spend focusing on things that do not serve you? How do I get these passions in my heart, Nikki? How do I get the number one focus in my heart? What do I need to do in order to get that through to my heart? It's about your senses, ladies and gentlemen. It's about what you feed your senses on a day-to-day basis. You know, I can't hear negativity and be silent. I'm like, whoa, 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 crop failure, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm allergic to negativity. Some of you are so used to being negative to yourself, you can't help it. You talk yourself down every single day. Oh, no, I can't do this. Oh, no, I'm this. You know, I've heard someone say, oh, no, that's not my ministry. And no, this isn't for me. And I can't do this. And I'm this and I'm that. And what do you feed your senses on a daily basis? Are you feeding your senses with your goals, with positive affirmations so that you can hear it? Or are you feeding your senses with negative affirmations? What is actually getting into your heart? Because it's not a one-day thing. This is about consistency. It's about what you're saying to yourself every single day. What are your ear gates hearing every day? Yes, you come on the mindset call. You know, it's so interesting. We had the mindset call last week, and straight after the mindset, it wasn't 2 minutes. I had a phone call from someone, straight negativity. I was like, was you just on the mindset call? Yes. Like, someone says to me, Nikki, how are you so positive all the time? I'm like, how are you so negative all the time? I literally don't understand it. Why would you speak lack to yourself, knowing that your mind is the gateway? Whatever you feed your mind, it's going to grow. Your mind is like the garden. So if you're sowing seeds into your mind of negativity, guess what's going to grow? More negativity, more stress, more drama, more worry. Let me tell you this, some of us worry too much. I used to be a worrier. A serious worrier. I would worry to the point where it would affect my body. I wouldn't be able to eat. I wouldn't be able to do nothing. It would get me down. How many of you on this call are overthinkers? You're worriers. And sometimes worrying doesn't have to be, where you're worried about a particular outcome. You could just be there overthinking. You're so worried about doing something, you overthink it before you even do it. And it's getting to the root of why are you overthinking? You're worried about, here's one of the questions I get all the time. I get this question all the time. We worry about things that haven't even happened yet. Let me give you an example. I have a trading business. And 9 times out of 10, when someone starts to trade with me, they ask me this question, Nikki, do I have to pay tax on this money? I say, listen, how about we make the money first and then we can decide. I've had my own mother tell me, Nikki, I said, Mom, you were really good at baking cakes. You're the best at baking these cakes. Let's set up an Instagram and let's post some of your cakes so you can get some more customers. You know what my mom said? If I get more customers, the government are going to stop my benefits. The government are going to stop the provisions they give me. And so I don't want to make too much money. This is the lack mindset that we have to unravel. I don't want to have to make too much money because then the government is going to stop the money. I said, Mom, how much did the government give you? £300. So how many cakes do we need to sell in order to surpass the money that they give you? 4 cakes. Is it worth the risk? Is it worth the risk for you to break chains of poverty if you step out of your comfort zone and do something new? But you see, the system, I don't know about how it is in the Caribbean, because I know you ain't getting them benefits in Jamaica, I'll tell you that. The system here in the UK will tie people down to the point where they sell their goals, they sell their dreams, they forget any kind of skill set that they have because they're dangled a little carrot. You've worked in a place for 20 years, you've worked in a place for 10 years, and now you've forgotten some of the skills you have in you. Or worse, you have got great skills in your workplace and you go to start your own business and you forget the skills that you learned in your workplace that are transferable, and now you sit there doing nothing. At worse, you will put overtime at work for free, but you won't put overtime for your own business. But I'm looking at Nehemiah and he toiled, he worked, he put the work in. He said, I see this goal and I'm not stopping until it's done. In fact, it was done in record-breaking time. When you apply yourself, you may surprise yourself that you get the results done in record-breaking time. I'm actually telling somebody on this call that you're about to see extraordinary results in record-breaking time if you just decide to stay focused. So many people are so consumed with doing this, that. But can you stay focused on one task for 90 days, 480 days? Too many people are ready to quit before they started. Too many people find a little hurdle and they're ready to quit. How do you quit? You know, I had a lady say to me, Nikki, she found me on Instagram. Nikki, God instructed me to connect with you. I know it's only God because I don't even scroll on Instagram and your page came up. It was God that aligned us. God told me to sign up into your rebuild program. God told me that you were the one to mentor me. It was a Holy Spirit feeling. And I said, okay, who am I to argue with the Holy Spirit? If God told you that, then you're going to have to be, humble, obedient, and follow the instruction. What did he tell you? And she started to talk to me and telling me her business idea. And I said, look, I get it. I understand. So we sat down, we did a game plan. And I said to her, okay, cool. Download this app. This is going to help you. I've got an e-commerce site. I know how it works. She wanted to get into the e-commerce world. I said, download this app. This is how you're going to get your e-commerce store up and running. The next day, she messaged me. The Lord has told me to quit. God told me to quit. I said, God told you to quit. He told you to start yesterday. And he told you to quit today. I said, I don't know about your God, but my God does not deal with the spirit of confusion. She said to me that when she downloaded the app, she had no memory on the phone. And it was a sign that she should quit. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, men and women of God. Holy Spirit, if one small obstacle will make you quit, I just want to be clear. We don't hear about the stories of the quitters. No one talks about the quitters. No one talks about those that attempted to do it. We don't hear the testimonials of those that, oh, okay, at least, who came fifth? Who came fifth in the Olympics, 100 meters? Who didn't make the trials? Anybody talking about them? Nobody knows their names. Nobody talks about the people that almost made it. It doesn't, nobody cares. And you see, as we go through into this week, we have to really go through with a mindset of gratitude and say, you know what? God isn't finished with me yet. That's why I'm still here. But let me not take it for granted. Let's stop using words. The words, some of you have convinced yourself, you've given yourself a pat on the back, you've allowed yourself to be a quitter and be comfortable being a quitter. You've allowed yourself to be comfortable being mediocre. Maybe it's your job that's paying you just barely enough to be able to survive. So you've said to yourself, it's okay to just live hand to mouth. What have you accepted in your life that you know you shouldn't be accepting? Is it a mediocre salary? Is it a mediocre lifestyle? Is it a mediocre property? Is it mediocre relationship? Come on now, somebody. Every single one of us know that there are parts in our life at some point in time where we accepted below the standard that we should have, and somebody else or an institution has told us that this is acceptable, that this is what we are worth. Do you understand what you are worth? Especially if you're a woman here, read Proverbs 31, that you are worth more than rubies and gold, pearls and gold. And you've been sitting there accepting mediocre, telling yourself it's hard. Let me tell you about hard. Someone says to me, Nikki, oh my God, you work so hard. I really wish, it wasn't so hard. I said, listen to me. I would rather my hard than your hard. When I started business years ago, and we used to recruit people in my network marketing business, one of the things we used to say is, oh, it's easy. Come on down, it's easy. We were lying to people because it wasn't easy. It was simple, but it wasn't easy. I no longer tell people now it's easy. I say it's simple, but it's not easy. You know why it's not easy? Because you have to get out of your own head. You've got to reprogram your mind away from some of the old paradigms you were told. You've got to give yourself that pep talk every morning to be consistent. We're so used to somebody else telling us what to do. You go to school, you had your teachers telling you what to do, parents telling you what to do. Then you go to college, your teachers are telling you what to do. Then you go to work, your boss is telling you what to do. And now you become a business owner. Now you start to run your own business. You're a hustler. You start to set up as a self-employed person. You have no one telling you what to do, and now you don't even know what to do. Now you're like, oh, I'm tired. It's hard. I said, you know what's hard? Not being able to pay my bills. That's what's hard. You know what's hard? Looking my daughter in the face and telling her, no, sorry, you can't have this week because mommy doesn't have the money. You know what's hard? Looking at my son while he ate in Nando's, knowing that I couldn't order nothing for me because I didn't have enough money to feed the both of us. You know what's hard? Having debts coming through the door and me pulling out my hair. You know what's hard? Drinking myself oblivion because I'd rather be drunk than sober because I hated my life. Do you know what's hard? Living in a relationship where when your man beats you every single day. That's hard. Me working and making money and providing for my kids and living a lifestyle, that's not hard. Listen, you get to choose your hard. Life is hard. Nothing in life is easy. When you listen to these people out there that are talking about success here and success here, none of them said, listen, it was a piece of pie. They said I had to overcome obstacles. I had to lose friends. I had to walk away from situations. But you have to choose. Do I want a hard, nice life, or do I want a hard life? I would rather have a hard life knowing that I can go and get a massage on a weekend. Let me tell you this, one of the worst things can be, right? Because stress is going to happen either way. You're going to get stressed at your job. You may get stressed in a relationship. Life is going to be hard. But you know the worst thing? You know the worst thing about when life is hard and you get stressed? The worst two combinations you can have is be stressed and broke. Listen, the worst combination is to be broke and stressed. Because you're stressed about a situation and you have no money to help yourself. At least when you're stressed, check yourself in a hotel and get a massage. At least when you're stressed, go retail therapy and shopping. But you know what happens here is people get stressed and then they have no money and then it's double PTSD and all of these traumas and all of these problems and then bad choices in life. And then we now start telling ourselves that we are the worst and that everything always bad happens to me and everybody's always against me and this and that and this and that. But all it was, can you just stay consistent? Can you stay consistent at doing what you promise yourself despite life coming at you? Nikki, life is hard. It is hard. But when Nehemiah was rebuilding those walls, he didn't say, Lord, should I do it? Can you not make me do it because it's hard? He didn't. He didn't. He didn't. He didn't. There's something about this book of Nehemiah that is just so amazing to me. Because I talk about Nehemiah so much because I look at his leadership and I'm just like, yo, this man, he went through so much and he still kept building. Nothing stopped Nehemiah from building. Nothing. Friends, enemies, the task. How many of you have a task right now that just seems impossible? That task seemed impossible for Nehemiah. It seemed like it could never be done. But how many of you know that when you have God along your side, you become the majority, that nothing is impossible. All things are possible to those that believe. How many of you know that all you have to do is believe? Nikki, how do I increase my belief system? Your senses, the words you speak, what you expose yourself to. You know, one of the things I was saying to my sister the other day, and, you know, we're so similar in this thorn that nothing is too expensive for us. If we want it, we'll make a way, we'll have it. And one of her friends says, oh my God, are you not really doing that? You really spent all that money on that? And I asked the girl, and I'm very bold like that. I said to her, how long have you looked down on yourself like that? How long has it been that you don't even believe you're worth £50? If you don't believe you're worth £50, no wonder you're single, because that's the energy you're giving every man. That's why every man uses you, because you don't believe you're worth £50. She was so offended. She didn't understand how I got to that psychological diagnosis with just that one comment. Because I'm real deep. If you don't believe you're worth £50 on yourself, why would anybody else treat you any different? Why would anybody else treat you any different if you don't believe you're a 50%? This is why I tell the ladies inside the rebuild, put yourself together. I don't care what's going on in your life. Don't look like how you feel. If you are in this country, if you are working, if you have an income and you are in the United Kingdom and you cannot do your hair once a month, you cannot do something for yourself, and you can't even afford to buy yourself a shoe, you need an extra stream of income or two, and you need to grind like your life depends on it. But don't look how you feel. Don't look how you feel. Because people are going to treat you based on how you treat you. People are going to treat you based on how you look after yourself, how you speak to yourself. And I didn't want to do this here because this is for a whole nother session, but I'm going to share this with you all because I want you to take these tips and I want you to use them, especially those of you that are public speakers, those of you that are helping other people, maybe your mentors, teachers, leaders. I want you to banish certain sentences out of your mouth. Are you ready for this? Because this is how you set other people up to disrespect you, to disregard you, and not pay attention to what you're saying. I don't have time to do too many, but I'm going to give you a few. Here's one of the things you do that shows, especially, anybody ever been around a narcissist before? Narcissists like to take from those that like to give. Narcissists are individuals that everything is always about them. They're not interested in you. If you're ever around a narcissist, you'll be focused all about their goals, their dreams, their aspirations, doing everything to impress them and giving to them, and they will simply just take. And the narcissist, what they will do is they will do it so well that you think it's your decision. A narcissist, let me tell you this. I was talking to my sister again and we were having a little banter, but it's so true. And something came out my mouth and I didn't mean it. I meant it in jest. But I want you to understand when I say this is that, when you're in a relationship with a narcissist, it's worse than being in a relationship with a man that beats you. Because a man that beats you, you know that you need to leave that man because he's beating you. But what a narcissist will do, a narcissist will get you to beat yourself. A narcissist is now getting into your mind. A narcissist will, a woman beater or a man beater will beat the person, but a narcissist will get you to beat yourself. And that's so much worse because you can't even see it coming sometimes, where someone is psychologically working on your brain till you start to self-sabotage, where you start to doubt yourself, you start to ask yourself questions, you begin to say to yourself, am I good enough? Can I do this and that? Maybe they were right. Maybe I'll never get another man. Maybe I'll never get another woman. Maybe I don't earn enough. Maybe I am too masculine. Have you ever been told by a man, if you're a woman, that you got male energy, for you to now second guess your femininity? Or a woman telling a man that he's got feminine energy, that men shouldn't cry? I've heard all of these things, and I tell you what, if you don't know who you are, and we're not here to talk about identity, but part of armoring up is knowing who you are. Know who you are and what you stand for. Because when you understand what you stand for, then guess what? You don't fall for everything. You have to stand for something. You got to stand for what it is that you believe and do the work. You got to do the work. Make sure that you're somebody of your own word, that you promise yourself that you're going to do something. And so here's some tips for you. I want you to avoid, these are red flags when you're having lack of confidence and you want to eradicate some of these sentences from your vocabulary. When you're about to explain something, do not, we called it in the bank, oh, come to me, Holy Spirit. We called it pre-positioning. Now, some of you, what you do is you pre-position your downfall. So before you're about to say something, you say a line like this. I'm not sure if you're going to agree with me. I'm not sure if this is going to make sense. I'm not sure if if you will like this idea. I'm not sure. You tell the person, I'm not sure if, before you've even said what you've said. How many of you are guilty of saying something like that? I don't know how you're going to feel about this, or I'm not sure. Like, what are you saying I'm not sure for? Speak your mind. Say your opinion. Say what you need to say so that it comes across that you are a confident person in what it is that you're doing. Here's another one that shows that there's lacking self-esteem. When you say, does that make sense? You say something and then you go, does that make sense? You're asking for edification or clarification that what you said made sense. So instead of saying at the beginning of a sentence, I'm not sure if you're going to like this approach, or I'm not sure if you're doing this. How about we change the words to say, this is, from my experience, this is what I'm going to put forward to you. Here's an idea I have. Here's what I found. And instead of saying, does that make sense? As if you are looking for validation, you make your statement and then you say something along the lines, do you have any questions based on what I've just communicated? Do you have any questions about what I've just communicated? Not, does that make sense? Is it making sense? Am I speaking sense? You see, these are little telltale signs, red flags. They are green flags for narcissists. They're green flags. And I want us to walk into this week confident, bold, knowing what it is that we know, taking charge of being the person that we're supposed to be and making things happen. No negative self-talk. Before you do something, you may be doing something new, or you may be doing something you've done before, and we play it down. Here's another one. Somebody says, oh, I like your hair. Oh, I did it myself. Oh, no, thank you. Thank you. Oh, did you do this yourself? Oh, yeah, this old thing. Oh, I like your outfit. Oh, I've had it for 5 years. I don't need to know you've had it for 5 years. Oh, yeah, I actually got this from Primark. Why are you having to justify the compliment? Can you take a compliment? And I tell you where it comes from, for me. And I'm telling you this because these are some of the things I had to overcome. I was so used to people complimenting me to take from me that I couldn't accept genuine compliments. I would always be justifying the compliment. I'd always be saying something around it. Or I would return a compliment with a compliment. Someone said, oh, I love your hair. I love yours too. I'm straight away deflecting back because I couldn't just accept a compliment. Maybe it's because I never got any compliments when I was younger. I did really well, but it was just a given in our house. You didn't get well done. You didn't get, the I love yous and all of those things. Sometimes you have to look back to go forward. Right? And I think I said this the other day. Someone said, oh, you're only as good as yesterday. Well, why would there be an Old Testament if you're only as good as yesterday? No, there's a reason why the Old Testament and the New Testament is there, for reference points. So sometimes you have to go back in order to go forward. Sometimes you have to lose to win. You got to lose your pride. Sometimes you got to lose a friend in order to gain something. Sometimes you got to lose, there are reasons why things have to happen in life. And we have to get to a point where we are confident in who we are without having to justify anything. And I touched on this on our Saturday call, and I'll tell you this, the spirit of comparison is what messes up the armor that's around us. When you start comparing to other people, when you start, your focus is on other people instead of where you're going. Now, don't get it wrong. We can look at other people and celebrate them. We can look at other people and congratulate them. But don't ever look at other people and use that as a weapon to start talking down on yourself. Oh, look, she's done this. He's done this. That means I'm no good. It means I'm slow. I'm too slow. It means I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. No. And we did this call a couple of months ago around, Hannah and Peninnah. And we watched the story of Hannah and Peninnah, 2 wives. And Peninnah was popping out babies left, right, and center. Whilst for years, Hannah just sat there as the wife that couldn't produce. And you had the husband wanting to keep the peace with the 2 wives and telling Hannah, listen, just because you haven't had a baby doesn't mean you're less of a wife. I still love you. But Hannah in herself was not feeling like she was a complete wife, especially at the fact that Peninnah kept reminding her. Peninnah was annoying her. Peninnah was rubbing it in her face. Peninnah was stirring the pot, saying, look at me, I've got all these babies, and look at you're barren, you have nothing. And Hannah was so focused on Peninnah, what Peninnah had to say about her, Peninnah's life, how Peninnah had this and Peninnah had that. The minute Hannah stopped and went to God and said, God, please. She didn't say, Peninnah, please. She said, God, please. Please, if you let me bear a child, I promise to give this child back to you, and this child will be legacy. This child will be legacy. You see, the moment she took her eye off of Peninnah, Hannah conceived the same night because she looked to God and not to the enemy. She looked to God and not comparison. She looked to God and not her lack. She looked to God and God filled her up with what she needed. And she conceived that same night. Some of you are looking at all the things you don't have. You're looking at all the other people that have stuff. You're looking at all the things, instead of turning and staying in your lane and saying, what do I need to do, God? Can you put me around the right people who can give me the right instructions that can now show me what I need to do? If you need a financial breakthrough, you need a breakthrough in your family, you need a breakthrough. Listen, if you want a breakthrough when it comes to your marriage, who do you need to be hanging around? Do you need to be hanging around your single friends that are dating left, right, and center? Do you need to be hanging around? No, you don't. Who do you need to get the advice from? If you have a financial situation, you need a breakthrough. Do you need to get advice from all your other friends that need a financial breakthrough too? Or do you need to connect yourself to someone who was in your situation that's been able to get themselves out of it? Maybe you need a new job. Do you think you're going to get a new job by looking at all the other people who have jobs? Or do you think there should be some action? Maybe start looking for a job. You see, so many people, my mentor told me this a long time ago. He said, Nikki, so many people just enjoy complaining about their situation. They don't actually want to change their situation. Because if you want to change your situation, that involves changing your habits, changing what you feed your senses, changing what you believe for yourself. You see, you believe you're in the right place. That's why you don't take action, or you take minimal action. You believe that where you are is where you should be. That's why you don't take action. Complaining about it doesn't tell me that you need to change. When you take action, that's when you need to change. What do I need to do? I need to pick up the phone. I need to write that email. I need to start by going to that event. I need to go and, meet that person. I need to bite the bullet and do something different that's going to get me different results. It is all in August. It's Armour Up August. And it's time to step it up. We've spoken over the last 2 weeks about making sure we have the full armor, about making sure that we don't allow certain energies to come near us, about making sure that we understand there's a process, about making sure that we understand that, yes, there will be people that come against us. But let me tell you this. Let me tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. Please make sure you are not the weapon formed against you that is making you not prosper right now. The weapons will be formed. The weapons will be formed. But I ask you, are you the weapon that's forming against you right now? Are you telling yourself low self-esteem? Are you telling yourself this is not my portion? Are you telling yourself that you can't do something? Or are you really ready for your rebuild? Are you really ready to go to the next level? Are you really ready to make a decision to get to where you know that you want to be? You see, talk is cheap. The bag of chat is, it takes a sacrifice. It's going to take commitment. It's going to be hard. But choose your heart. Choose your heart. Are you going to sit there and look at the bricks and hope that the wall builds itself? Because I tell you this, no one is coming to save you. You have to save you. You have to save you. Because once Nehemiah prayed about it, he got up and he did the work. And just because he prayed about it, it didn't mean that there was no things happening that didn't attempt to stop him, but he kept putting one foot in the other. You know what, as I close this call, I'm going to tell you this, and I was having this conversation with my sister Angela, and we were talking about it, and we were saying, listen, these days, I don't know if it's the world or the government or how everybody's got rights these days and people be suing each other left, right, and center. But these days we seem to be thin-skinned. As soon as someone says something, we want to go and cry. As soon as someone says something, we want to go and fall over. Back in the days, you had to be thick-skinned. How many of you remember your grandparents, your great-grandparents? They had 10, 15. Some of them, my great-grandma had 16 children, and she made it work. She made it work. She didn't have Instagram. She didn't have GoFundMe. She made it work. Sometimes I wonder, how did all 16 go through school? How did they navigate certain things? They used the word, they had faith, and they put it to work. She was a hustler. She would sell stuff on the road. She would make it happen because she said, my kids are not going to feel this struggle. Some of us have to go back to understanding that you're that guy, you're that girl. What have you been through before that reminds you that you can overcome anything you put your mind to? Have you forgotten some of the things that you've overcome already? This is not a time for pity party. This is time to step it up. This is time to say, I'm not happy with, how many of you, listen, this is just me. I ain't happy where I am. I'm grateful. God has blessed me, but I'm not satisfied. Where he's brought me is not where I'm going to stay. He's not brought me this far to keep me at this position. I know there's another rebuild layer. I know there's another few rebuild layers. I know that there's a next step for me. I know there's enlargement of territory. I know that he's sending the right persons that's going to have the vision, have the tenacity, have the work ethic, have the resilience that I'm looking for. I know that I've got the right persons coming to me. I'm attractive. One of my affirmations is I'm so open. I'm open and receptive to who God blesses me with that's going to help me to achieve the vision and the mission that he has for my life. I know that he's going to help me find these 25 persons who's going to be making at least 10,000 a month. I know he's going to help me to help some women to get married this year. I know he's going to help me enlarge the territory with some of the goals that I have. I know he's going to bless my children. I know he's going to do these things. I have no fear. It may not look like it right now, but I know that I know that I know that I know that he's the same God that he was yesterday. He's the same God today, and he'll be the same God tomorrow. I've seen it too many times. I've read this book too many times. I've seen seen testimonies in my life too many times. He picked me up off the floor. This little girl here that was on the floor, that was wasted, begging a man to stay, who left me pregnant, and I felt like I was nothing. I didn't think I was worthy. I didn't think I had a word in me. This man picked me up. He turned me around. He lifted my feet and he put them on solid ground. And he said, Nikki, you are worthy. You're going to rebuild your life. There's a word inside of you. There's strategy on the inside of you to be able to help another woman along the way. I know he put me on this earth for a reason and a purpose. And I'm not going down now. I don't care. The ship could look like it's sinking. Everybody could leave me. They could all turn their backs on me. But I'm not giving up on the mission that he put on my heart. I know the mission he put on my heart. I don't care who believes it, because I know I believe it. I don't care who leads. How about that? I don't care who leads. You got to get to a place where you don't care who believes. You just know someone's going to believe with you. He's going to send his angels to come and just minister to you. You're going to get a phone call, a letter, an email of confirmation telling you to take action. But are you armored up and ready? Where he enlarges your territory. I had a conversation with someone. They said, Nikki, how many of your mentees, because I'm going to call you now, but how many of your mentees, if I said to you and 5 of your mentees to come and talk on stage in front of 20,000 people, how many of them are ready right now? Some of them are praying to be speakers, but how many of them are ready? And I was like, that's a good question. If you were called to speak on stage in front of 20,000 people right now, put a 1 in the chat if you're like, Nikki, I've already got my speech ready. Put a 2 in the chat and say, listen, I better get ready. I better get ready. I better get ready. I ain't got a speech ready right now, but I better get ready, because I'm going to tell you this. You don't wait until things get better, until you start to make provisions. You start to do it now, because things always get better, but you got to be ready for the better. Don't wait till the opportunity comes your way before you start to wanting to get ready. You have to stay ready. You got to be ready. So when that opportunity comes, you can say, yeah, I'm ready. When that opportunity comes, you can say, yeah, I'm ready. And this is the ready week. This is the ready week. I'm going to tell you guys right now that we're going to hear testimony by next week that somebody decided to stop playing small and step out. Step up. Someone on this call is going to start stepping up. I don't care what they said about you. I don't care what your mum said about you. I don't care what your dad said about you. Your dad left you when you were younger. I don't care what they did to you. I don't care what the teacher said about you, what your boss believes about you. There's one person that we know believes in you, and that is our Heavenly Father, Lord Jesus Christ. And he's here on this call. The Holy Spirit is telling me to tell you, don't care what they said and done. Your time is now. Your time is now. The enemy cannot defeat you. It can just trick you to defeat yourself. The enemy cannot touch you. It can only convince you to touch yourself and to mess up yourself and to mash down yourself and to speak lack over yourself. The time is now. Whatever you said your goals were at the beginning of this year, times it by 5. It's time for enlargement. We're not playing no games. I'm not playing no games. I'm not playing no more games. We already know what we've been ordained to do. We already know that the season and the time is now. Everything is for a season. There's a season to sit down and strategize, and there's a season to move. And this is the season to move right now. Don't overthink it. I want everyone to type in, it's my season. It's your winning season. Not just season, it's my winning season. Because you have to be intentional about winning. Winning doesn't just happen on your lap. You have to be intentional about it. You sharpen your sword. Get ready. Because I tell you this, it is that time, ladies and gentlemen. It is that time. Listen, sometimes you need a Penina in your life to push you. Sometimes you need a Penina to tease you a little bit. Sometimes you need a Penina. I don't know what your Penina is on this call. Maybe it is your, I don't know, your bills. That could be your Penina. Maybe your Penina is, a spouse or an in-law. Maybe your Penina is somebody at work. Maybe your Penina is just your own low self-esteem. I don't know what your Penina is, but sometimes that Penina needs to be there to push you to where you need to go. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very excited about what's about to happen for you. And, you know, I only have one Instagram. Please be careful of the paninas on social media, literally messaging people for money. I will never message you for money. Okay. I am Nikki Sutherland, the only Instagram I have. Okay. I'm looking forward to hearing your testimonials. Keep up to date with me. Tag me in on Instagram. Let me know what you like best about this call. Inside the communities, you know, we have the community section, top takeaways, 5 top takeaways from the call. I'm very excited about this week. This week, ladies and gentlemen, we have a few special announcements. If you're not already in the Rebuild VIP community, you can go over to therebuild.co.uk/shop and you can join. That is a women's only community where we work on courage. Because a lot of this is about courage, ladies and gentlemen. Courage to be who God has called you to be, right? So we work on courage. We have a masterclass monthly, homework, etc. And we really put the work in. We also have excursions, day trips on a quarterly basis, retreats. Okay, if you haven't already purchased my book, The Rebuild, go ahead at therebuild.co.uk/shop. You can go ahead and get that. But for this special announcement,